Good evening, and welcome to the Shoes and Clothes for Kids' first ever virtual fundraising event. I wish we were at the beautiful Shoreby Club, as we've been for the past 14 years. Tonight's event replaces our annual Aramark golf outing and the Shoreby event as the two big fundraisers of the year. The money you help us raise tonight will go immediately to buy shoe vouchers, school clothing, and school supplies for the Cleveland area kids. We need your help, and we thank you for your help. Our thanks to all of the sponsors that you see on the screen as well, with special thanks to Fifth Third Bank and Fairport Wealth, who made their commitments to sponsor this event in the first few weeks of the COVID-19 crisis. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't call out and thank directly the employees of Shoes and Clothes for Kids. Our staff has done a tremendous job in supporting the kids of Cleveland and supporting Shoes and Clothes for Kids, particularly during this pandemic. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We very much appreciate it. And I say this personally, but also on behalf of the board for Shoes and Clothes for Kids. Thank you.
When I don't have new clothes, I'd be a little bit nervous about school. You can easily get bullied if you don't wear something good.
Whenever a child does not come into school, that means they're falling behind. That could actually cause a reduction in your test scores.
We're really thinking about what are some of these barriers to attendance, barriers to being successful in school, and how might we do some things to actually help that process.
Everything we do is with the mission of helping kids get to school. It's not just a feel-good story anymore. It's a story that has concrete outcomes. This goes well beyond just an act of charity, if you will.
We're really going to try and change their future. And if that better class attendance leads to better grades, I think that's the massive win that we're really going for.
It makes me feel good because it feels like I'm just one of the other girls.
I think we solve a lot of our community problems by each of us doing our part. And it may look like it's small, but collectively it builds a positive momentum and has impact.
You don't get to pick and choose your parents. You don't get to pick and choose where you grow up. And so it's our responsibility to do what we can for all the students that we have.
Good evening. I'm Abby O'Brien, and I've been an associate board member for 3 years. I support Shoes and Clothes for Kids for the reasons mentioned in the video you just saw. Cleveland kids that deserve to have new clothes, shoes, and school supplies so they can have the best shot at success in school. And I know no matter what the school year may look like this year, Shoes and Clothes for Kids will adapt to the needs of these kids and their families, like we did this summer with the school supply and hygiene kits. This is such a critical time to support the important work of Shoes and Clothes for Kids so that we can help even more kids and families.
And my name is Rachel Way. I've been a high school art teacher for 12 years and on the associate board for 3. I support SC4K because I see firsthand both the needs of my students and the dramatic ways that SC4K meets them. We are in the midst of historical times wherein the world's most vulnerable citizens are overwhelmed with further hardships on a variety of fronts. Right here in the greater Cleveland area, families who had very little to begin with are now working with next to nothing. The demand for school supplies and uniforms dramatically shifted to the need for food, warm coats, and the most basic hygiene supplies. Shoes and Clothes for Kids heard the call and showed up in so many remarkable ways. From the beginning of the pandemic, they pivoted their distribution from schools that became shuttered to sites like the Cleveland Food Bank. Families waited in lines that stretched 2 miles in either direction. Car after car patiently waited and asked for whatever we could give. We were ready, with kits filled with school and art supplies for kids now working from home, along with soap, shampoo, dental hygiene, hairbrushes, and deodorant. I was personally able to help distribute 1,200 kits in the Warrensville Heights community, as well as giving away 300 brand new coats in a single day. The overwhelming gratitude that community members expressed for these basic gestures was humbling, to say the least. Even now, SC4K is working to put together back-to-school kits that include children's face masks, hygiene supplies, and other needed essentials. To contribute to SC4K is to know that you have provided a measure of not just confidence anymore, but comfort and safety to the most disadvantaged individuals in our communities. As our governor recently shared, we are experiencing a once in 100 years time of sacrifice. If there was ever a time to give, the time is now, in our 51st year.
And tonight, it has never been easier to be a part of that giving. There are 3 ways to financially support Shoes and Clothes for Kids. First, our online auction will be open and waiting on your bid until noon tomorrow. We have several wonderful packages on which to bid, such as a bourbon and cigars gift package, a lakeside Marblehead getaway, fashion and jewelry gift packages, home improvement bundles, and much more. All winners will be notified by text and email.
Later in the program, our board members will share specific items students and teachers will need this fall, whether they are learning and teaching in person or virtually. Support or fund a need by selecting one or more of the options they mentioned. You can do this by visiting www.nightattheshoreby.com to browse and bid on auction items and/or select a fund a need option.
Or if you prefer, you may text to give by sending the message Shoreby 2020 to 76278 in order to make your donation.
All proceeds from this event will have an immediate impact on families in our communities and will be used to support our back-to-school programs.
Thank you for attending tonight's event and supporting Shoes and Clothes for Kids. And please keep bidding.
So let's get started with what I hope is an easy question. Why is Shoes and Clothes for Kids important to your organization?
I will just say that our partnership with you guys with Shoes and Clothes for Kids has truly been invaluable. What you bring to the table and add to what we're doing, because we have a commitment to whole child, we commit to doing everything for the whole child as we do for their families as well, as much as we can. And by bringing dignity through school uniforms and clean clothing and brand new school supplies, and it affects their self-esteem and their overall ability to learn. Behavior is affected by these tools that you share with us, and so we know that this is something that elevates their learning and their desire to come to school every day. So thank you.
It helps our clients, especially the ones that's the Shoes and Clothes for Kids, the uniforms and the underclothes and the socks. They're always in need for, especially the families with that has a lot of kids. Because most of our families out there have a lot of children. And the Shoes and Clothes for Kids, like, they actually depend on it. They always asking us, when is our next one? Is very helpful. The school supplies, everything just helps make it smoother for them and their children, they say.
Also, just when a mother has an immediate need for like the socks and the underclothes, and I can imagine how it makes you feel when you just can't get to purchase it or you don't have the means to purchase it. We're able to reach out to Shoes and Clothes for Kids and get those things. I had a mom whose son, just general playing on the way home from school, split his pants. And I was able to call, and Alicia and Kim got it worked out very quickly. And she was so thankful because she really had no other way. And the school was really a stickler, so she did not want to hold the kid out of school until she was able to purchase the pants. So you guys were able to get me those within 24 hours, and the kid didn't miss any school.
I can't express enough thanks. And it is just the families, the faces, the looks on their faces when they receive these items. There's such relief for the parent that they're able to get these items that their children need, especially like the hygiene.
Thank you for mentioning hygiene kits. That was, we've always known that hygiene products were important, but that was one of the items that we received a lot of requests for this last semester. So is that something that you all think that Shoes and Clothes for Kids should fundraise for to make sure that we're able to continue distributing?
Yeah, definitely.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
We received a grant this spring to provide bags of essential items to students in inner ring suburbs. And, you know, sometimes people forget that there's a need for services to non-City of Cleveland residents. So I'd like a few of the partners who primarily serve families who don't live in the City of Cleveland to share the need of shoes, clothes, and supplies. So that's Cleveland Hesed Center, East Cleveland Neighborhood Center, the centers, Murtis Taylor, and anyone else I may have missed.
I know I can say for the Southeast Community-Based Services Program of Murtis Taylor, serving Garfield, Warrensville, for Shoes and Clothes for Kids, we allow families from Bedford and Bedford Heights to come, as well as Maple Heights. It's a big deal because a lot of the families we serve have moved to the suburbs to provide better opportunities for their children, and it takes almost all of their income to be able to do that. And so knowing that you don't have to worry about a coat, knowing that you'll get those small things like socks and underwear and gift cards for shoes, which no matter how much the gift cards are, families are always very grateful. It's wonderful to be able to make a difference, and it makes a huge difference. These are families who are really in need and benefit, and kids, you can see how they feel better going to school because they have these things and they're new and they're clean and they're the right size.
A lot of our families that are outside of East Cleveland utilize our program because we have other programs that we have inside of our agency. And we find through those programs that they're in that they actually need the services. Sometimes they are still prideful because they live in different communities as far as being in Cleveland Heights or Euclid, that they don't want to ask or say that they need it, but it comes out in the other programs that they're in. And I, for myself, have been a recipient of Shoes and Clothes for Kids. So they see me as an employee when they come in, and when I'm able to share my side and how my life has changed and where I used it, then that helps them kind of take that shame away or that pride away, because we all need it. At one point of our life. So it feels good to be able to share my story and break that barrier to let them know that these services are here for you if you need it. And I find that I build a better relationship with the families, whether it's a father or the mother, with their children, that they stay on top of it, and they'll call and say, well, when does it come up again? It takes that away. So it's just great to be able to serve, just not within our community. It's great to give back to East Cleveland, but to break down those barriers where people don't think that they don't have the help that they need and actually are really struggling and can call out and get the help. So I'm glad we're here in partnership with you all to be able to give back to those.
This is Meira Friedman from the Cleveland Chesed Center. I had a family who just told me in the last couple of weeks that her kids are still wearing the clothes that were distributed with the uniform distribution, that they lasted a whole year for her kids, and she was so grateful that the quality was so high, and you were able to get our kids for our private schools the uniforms that they needed. So thank you.
Yeah, the other thing that was very beneficial was the detergent that was in the bags. The families were so happy to have received that. At a family, she said she hadn't been able to wash clothes, and I don't know how long, because she didn't have the money to buy detergent. So when she seen that, it was like she was very excited. So that's another thing that was very beneficial of the bags.
I mean, when all of us are in this together to make this happen for our families. I'll speak for East Cleveland Neighborhood Center. If we had to come and pack it and get it to our families, that's what we would do. Or if we can get it delivered, either way, make it work.
Thanks for the time. We are all committed like you to taking care of those kids who need the most help, and we want to continue to hear your feedback. That's what I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
We really appreciate you joining us today. I'd like to start first by going kind of virtually around the table to have everyone share how they're doing and how this COVID-19 circumstances have affected you professionally.
A lot of our parents were those essential employees. And so they were working 8-hour days and then coming home and having to deal with, their students learning. And that became something where I was no longer working those teacher hours. I got more contacts after 5 o'clock and spent many evenings well into the night working on the computer and trying to help the students be successful and trying to build confidence, not only in my students, but also in the parent, because a lot of our parents felt so inadequate in dealing with this technology. So really just building up the student, but also the parent. And that was probably the longest running difficulty that we had.
So we know that being a teacher shop volunteer is a big commitment. And we want to know what's the driving force behind your continued commitment to Shoes and Clothes for Kids.
Yes.
Anybody else?
Being in several different schools during the school year, I get a chance to see what we call the haves and the have-nots. And for the have-nots, I think that Shoes and Coats for Kids is essential. Just knowing that the supplies are there if the kids need it. And not only the kids, the teachers. So as a former teacher, knowing that if the kids don't have it, I'm most likely going to go into my pocket to see that they have it. So just knowing that there is a venue that they can actually come and get what they need is just a great feeling.
I really feel that it's a way to give back. Shoes and Clothes for Kids, the Kids in Need teacher shops are always there for me. And I know that even if I had a specific need, I could always make a call and make a request. And I know that you guys will do whatever you can to be able to meet those. And I know that some of our teachers are art teachers and have benefited from the special shops too. And that's always been a great benefit. We know that these supplies come to us, and you know that we as teachers, we're merely a funnel for having those supplies pass on to the children. And if they don't have it, we reach into our pockets. It's what we do. We have to help any way that we can and support them.
What are, in your opinion, what are the top supplies teachers need when they're teaching virtually? Now, this is just what teachers need, not what the students need. So what do they need at home while they're preparing for their lessons?
Whiteboards, dry erase board rather. And, and the supplies that go with it. So if they want to show something while they're on a Zoom meeting or whatever, a Zoom class or Google class, they can, show it on the board.
Okay. So how important are the hygiene kits for you, do you all think?
Very important.
I think it's very important because if you have a choice between buying food and the hygiene kit or what they need for they're probably going to buy the food. So
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I just have one more thing before I let you all go and get on with your day. In 2019, Shoes and Clothes for Kids distributed over $6 million worth of shoe passes, clothes, and supplies. And we think that you all are a big reason for our success. We just wanted to take the time to thank you for your dedication over the last few years, but especially during the last few months. Collectively, you all have volunteered over 500 hours for the 2019-20 school year. And in addition to the weekly teacher shops, you know, like I said, you came early for the UB distribution, the Girl Scout distribution, specialty shops, and then even packing bags of essentials at our warehouse during this whole pandemic. So it's my honor to present you ladies with our Maury Sayer Founders Award for Volunteerism. I have plaques for everybody that I can't wait to give you as soon as we see each other in person at some point. So thank you, ladies.
You're welcome.
Yay!
Hi, I'm Sarah Malamed, Shoes and Clothes for Kids board member.
I'm Alyssa Wooliger, Shoes and Clothes for Kids board member.
Hi, I'm Kelly Rudloff. I'm a Shoes and Clothes for Kids board member and co-chair of Night at the Shoreby. First, we'd like to congratulate our award winners and say thank you for all you do to support students in Shoes and Clothes for Kids. You truly make a difference every day. And thank you to you for being here tonight.
For most of us, getting kids ready for the new school year means shopping for clothes, notebooks, pens, backpacks. It's just part of the deal. But for many Cleveland families, back-to-school shopping is a luxury they can't afford. And missing out on basic school supplies makes it hard for kids to show up and do their best. Plus, COVID-19 has added a whole new layer of stress and uncertainty.
So this year, SC4K hosted virtual meetings with school administrators, distribution partners, and teachers to find out what they need most to set kids up for success. Since these folks interact daily with the students and families who rely on our programs, they gave us great ideas and insights.
Which brings us to our annual Night at the Shoreby Fund a Need. This is your chance to make a donation that will directly impact our teachers' ability to teach and our students' ability to learn. All you have to do, sit back and relax while we tell you what's on this year's Fund a Need wish list. Then, just choose what you'd like to donate and follow the instructions at the end. It's super easy.
Ready? Here we go. Starting at the top, a $1,000 donation will pay for 50 grab-and-go boxes filled with supplies for teachers to use, whether they're in the classroom or online.
Next, $500 provides enough portable cases of grade-appropriate supplies for an average-sized classroom. Since students will need to keep their supplies separate and not share with others, these make it easier to transport supplies and keep them organized.
A donation of $225 provides brand new shoes for 15 students. We give out shoe passes instead of actual shoes so that kids can select the size and style they need.
And last, a $100 donation buys hygiene kits for 30 students. Filled with basic everyday hygiene supplies, these kits were the #1 item requested by teachers and distribution partners this year.
Please help us make this school year as positive and productive as possible for Cleveland's kids. Just choose your Fund a Need donation amount and pay one of two ways. Either go to nightattheshoreby.com, or if you prefer text to give, you can text Shoreby 2020 to 76278 to make your donation. Thank you for joining us at our virtual Night at the Shoreby and for supporting Shoes and Clothes for Kids. Thanks everyone.
Each year, we honor an organization that is an outstanding partner to our organization. It is always one who helps us meet our mission, who we can learn from, and who makes us better. The award is in the name of our Chairman Emeritus, Alan Kulak, who has been a driving force behind our organization for decades. This year, we are proud to recognize Christ Child Society of Cleveland. Their partnership over the past 4 years has helped all of us serve more kids in Cleveland. It is on behalf of the Board of Directors and staff, we congratulate Kathy Caruso and Mary Herrick and the entire Christ Child Society team for their support.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for everything, for allowing us to be a part of this program. That's really great. Thank you. We appreciate you.
Volunteers are critical to the success of our organization. Each year, we benefit from enough volunteer hours to equal 6 full-time employees. If you're interested in volunteering, go to our website, sc4k.org/volunteer to sign up. This year, we are honoring one of our board members and one of our associate board members. Like many of our board colleagues, both serve in the organization in a variety of ways each year. They do committee work, they help us with special projects, and they certainly have been involved in selling the 50-50 raffle tickets at our Browns games and more. What set Sarah and Kristen apart this year was the extraordinary dedication to our mission since the pandemic begun in March. Both of them were in the warehouse regularly, of course, following CDC guidelines, to help prepare thousands of bags of school supplies, clothing, hygiene kits, and more that we were able to get out through our existing partners to the Kids of Cleveland and some new partners that also helped us in that effort. Kristen also rallied a number of her associate board colleagues to stuff bags from home, and she handled the drop-off and the pickup duties. Sarah and Kristen, on behalf of both boards and our staff, and especially the Kids of Cleveland, we thank you for your efforts to support the kids and to support Shoes and Clothes for Kids. And congratulations on winning the 2020 Maury Sayer Award.
This evening, it's been a lot of fun. But before we conclude the program, the Shoes and Clothes for Kids Board, Associate Board, and staff want to salute all of you, our partners and sponsors, with a toast. So if everyone on the call would please raise their glasses to the camera. On behalf of the kids we service in the Cleveland area, thank you and good night.
When I don't have new clothes, I'd be a little bit nervous about school. You can easily get bullied if you don't wear something good.
Whenever a child does not come into school, that means they're falling behind. That could actually cause a reduction in your test scores.
We're really thinking about what are some of these barriers to attendance, barriers to being successful in school, and how might we do some things to actually help that process.
Everything we do is with the mission of helping kids get to school. It's not just a feel-good story anymore. It's a story that has concrete outcomes. This goes well beyond just an act of charity, if you will.
We're really going to try and change their future. And if that better class attendance leads to better grades, I think that's the massive win that we're really going for.
It makes me feel good because it feels like I'm just one of the other girls.
I think we solve a lot of our community problems by each of us doing our part. And it may look like it's small, but collectively it builds a positive momentum and has impact.
You don't get to pick and choose your parents. You don't get to pick and choose where you grow up. And so it's our responsibility to do what we can for all the students that we have.